Okay, CL Brown, go for it.
Hey, Walker, what do you feel is kind of the area you've made the biggest improvements in and being able to contribute a little more offensively these last two games?
I think for me, really the biggest thing is just kind of getting used to the flow of the game. I think it was pretty apparent in my first couple games, just being out with COVID protocol, that like just getting back to the flow. I think that's really just the biggest thing.
Greg Barnes.
Walker, as you've gotten more playing time and you've been more productive in recent games, has your confidence taken a significant step forward?
For sure. I definitely think that's a big thing for me. And kind of like what C said, my teammates have all been, great about that. I mean, we all encourage each other a lot. So
how big of step back was not being able to practice for those couple weeks in the preseason while in COVID protocol?
Yeah, it was really tough. Being locked in a hotel for 14 days right before the season starts. There's really nothing like it. There's not really a precedent you can look back at, I guess, like an injury, but you could still sit in on the practices. I couldn't sit in on the practices or anything. So that was tough for me, but, trying to get back into the flow for sure.
Thanks.
Jacob.
Hey, Walker, same question I've asked the other guys, but what was your kind of reaction when you heard about this game, when this game was actually scheduled, and what do you think you guys kind of got out of tonight's game?
Yeah, I think probably the same answer as everyone else has said, being able to play and get rust, acquires pretty quickly. And you can see that just because with any team that have a big span of time, they usually are a little rusty coming back. So I just think it was huge for us to get a win and get back into the flow.
And one quick question. Caleb said a few minutes ago about how you're one of the hardest in terms of you're really hard on yourself in practice and in games. Can you just kind of expand on that? And is that something you've always kind of been like throughout your career?
Oh, yeah. I grew up with older brother, older sister. My whole family was just super competitive. So, just wanting to win and everything is a great thing. Kind of like a side effect of it is just being super hard on yourself. So I've definitely had to, struggle with that. But I think that I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for that, kind of pushing myself to farther, work harder. So.
Ross.
Hey, Walker, when you were a prospect and recruit, you could step back and hit the three. You hit that bank three tonight. I was wondering kind of what do you think your game is and kind of can be at the college level? Are you going to be able to knock down threes at UNC, or what do you think your role is going to be in college?
That's the question of the day. I know I'm a shooter. Obviously it's not super apparent to that game, missed two or made one, but do we even count that as a make? Sure, on the stat line, but I know I can hit that, in practice and workouts by myself. I'm not worried about it. I just think that once I get more comfortable, it'll be fun. And I do think that I'll be able to stretch the floor. I know I'll be able to stretch the floor.
Yeah, to follow up, beyond 3-point shooting, what else do you think you're capable to do as a big man in this offense?
Yeah, obviously stretching the floor, kind of the way I said. I think I'll be able to drive more. Obviously it hasn't really presented itself very well. I think that I'm not really a big bruiser type, but I hustle very hard. So just being able to get, hustle rebounds, hustle steals, stuff like that. And I really think that I have a lot of skill that hasn't really been, showed yet. So just kind of, I think more of a skilled big than anything.
Thanks, man.
Of course.
Adam Smith.
Walker, you mentioned the hustling. A lot of games that you've played this year, you're on the floor a lot, and not to make it sound silly, but it looks like you run hard from end to end. Is just trying to play with as much energy as possible, is that one of the keys, do you think, to making yourself productive or a factor when you come in?
Yeah. I think I'm obviously not the most athletic person on the court. I think that's pretty apparent. But, I mean, regardless of how much athleticism someone has, like, you can always hustle. And, you know, I always say better to make a mistake hustling because, you know, you never know what's going to come out of it. For example, you know, the second three I shot, missed it pretty bad, but, you know, just not quitting, getting the rebound, shooting again, missing again and again, but, you know, still going after it and eventually, you know, pushing through and overcoming.
Kiara.
Hey Walker, talk about that three in the first half at around the 5-minute mark where you cut your eye at the bench. What was going through your mind at that point?
You know, a three's a three. I think that I was a little giddy, a little jumpy. So I mean, honestly, I was looking back at the bench like, you know, 3 points, 3 points. So I'm not really too concerned about it. Just got to get back my flow.
Got it. Thank you.
Of course.
Anything else for Walker? All right. Thank you, Walker. Good job.
I actually have a question. Who asked the Kerwin question about his telekinesis?
That was me.
Yeah, you gotta keep that on the low, man. The U.S. government. Keep that down.
Keep in mind next time.
Thanks, Walker. Thanks, everybody.